So welcome back. This will be part 5 of the DVD 2025 DVD and Blu-ray collection overview. Now, from now on, I will be in front of the camera. So for those of you that are now upset because I'm in front of the camera, suck my ass. All my whole ass, not just part of my ass. You can suck my whole ass. And for those of you that actually like to see my face, hello. So we did the first 4 parts. We did the top of the shelf, and then we did the first 2 shelves. And I had the camera up and everything. And then when we did this shelf, you could see it, but I was kind of struggling a little bit. So I said, fuck it, man. I'll just relax. I'll sit on the floor. I'll be comfortable. You could see my wonderful face now. And it would just be a hell of a lot easier to do it this way. Once again, I should have did it from the start, but it's no big deal. So when we get to the other shelves, I'll just pull stuff and, edit and stuff like that. So now you will notice there's no more Clint Eastwood movies over here. So you guys know me. I lie about everything. So I said, well, we're going to get into Clint Eastwood. Well, I lied. You guys, once again, I lie about everything. I'm just a big fat liar, like Frankie Muniz. What had happened was I'm currently watching through Clint Eastwood's movies because he turned 95 this year, and I wanted to celebrate and watch a lot of his films. And also, I have not watched any of his movies in a long time either, so it's been good to go back, and especially the Man with No Name movies and the Dirty Harry movies. I don't watch those movies enough. I should watch them more often. What else I'm looking over there? Coogan's Bluff. I haven't seen that in forever. It was good to watch that. Where Eagles Dare. I haven't seen that in forever as well. So yeah, bunch of good stuff we're getting to. So we will get to the Clint Eastwood movies at the end of the Blu-rays that I haven't watched, or I've already watched. So we'll knock out this shelf, we'll knock out down here, and then the shelf directly, you can't see it, it's off camera, that whole shelf is Blu-rays, and then half of the other one. When we're done that, we'll do Clint Eastwood, and then we'll jump into DVDs and all sorts of other stuff. So let's go ahead and let's get this going. I don't want to keep you guys waiting. Alright, so first up, we gotta complain about something. So we have Attack of the Yakuza, aka Broken Fist, aka Broken Path, with Johnny Young. That's not his name. It's Young. But here they put a typo, so I got a lot of bones to pick with this Blu-ray. But Johnny Young Bosch, apparently. I don't know why this movie has so many titles, but I love this movie. I think it might still be here on YouTube for free. I'm not sure. But if you like old school, straight up martial arts action films, this is one you need to watch. I think it came out in 2007. Let me see if I can find a copyright date on here. It says 2013. Maybe it was. I don't know why I thought 2007. Maybe it was 2013. You know what? I'm going to look that up on my phone. I'm sorry. But of course, Johnny Young Bosch from Power Rangers, and also Dan Southworth from Power Rangers. They made this little martial arts action movie for basically nothing. I don't know what the budget was, but I don't even think it was $1 million. And it's really good. Like, I remember hearing it too. Okay, I was right, because it says, according to Wikipedia, Mill Creek did not release the movie on DVD, so I don't know what you people are smoking. 2008 is what Wikipedia and IMDb. It's also on Tubi for free if you guys want to go that route. But I think, again, it's also here on YouTube for free. So I was a year off. I was close. I said 2007, but it was 2008. But it's really good. The fight scenes are awesome. There's no CGI. There's no wire fu bullshit, which I'm not a fan of. I was never a fan of that. But this is really solid. Now, the bone that I have to pick with this Blu-ray is edited. This is the German release, and it is rated 18, which is the equivalent of R. But it's actually edited. I did not know that until after I bought the Blu-ray. So I do have it on DVD somewhere. Actually, no, it's in the back row. Because the DVD is unedited. But like I said, I did not know that this was edited until after I bought it. So I'll just keep it because it's an HD. But this is really good. And then Koichi Sakamoto directed it, who was, for the longest time, was the stunt coordinator on Power Rangers. He worked on Super Sentai in Japan and then came over to America and did the end of season 2 of Mighty Morphin up until when they sold to Disney, but then Disney kept him because he knew what he was doing. He might still work. I mean, he might have worked on up until when they stopped it a couple years ago. But yeah, but this is a real, again, the point I'm trying to make is don't buy this Blu-ray like I did because it's edited, but watch the movie because it's really good. And I don't know why it never got any I think the DVD I have is an overseas DVD because it never got any distribution here in America. Why? I don't know, but great old school martial arts action movie with people from Power Rangers kicking the shit out of each other. So there you go. Next up we have Big with Tom Hanks. I know Tom Hanks is not America's sweetheart anymore, but he's still a good actor. This has I think I watched the extended cut once, and I didn't think much of it, so I never watched it again, but it has all the features and everything on here. But I am surprised, because this Blu-ray is from 2009, I am surprised that they never did updated super duper. It's Disney, so of course they're not going to do anything with it. But classic, love Big. Then we have another classic, which again I don't know why this movie also has not gotten an updated super duper Blu-ray or 4K, because all the features on here are from 2007. But it is The Untouchables, as you can clearly see. One of my favorite gangster crime films. But yeah, I don't know why they've never done an updated special edition. It is Paramount, so maybe Arrow, but Paramount probably wants too much money for it. But absolutely love. And I do think there is a 4K for this, but it doesn't have any new extra features, which is a shame. But come on, it's the fucking Untouchables. So classic film. And I did review that before on the old channel. And I just watched it not long ago because I did also do Sean Connery. Back in November last month, I did a Sean Connery marathon because he would have been 95 if he was still alive. Because him and Clint Eastwood are the same age. So, I do miss Sean Connery. Like, I watched that. I watched all the James Bond movies up until Skyfall, because after that I stopped giving a shit because then they started to suck. I hadn't watched any of those in forever either. So I like doing this. I really do. But I also like not doing it because then I can watch whatever I want, and it's always fun to go back. Like, I watched that. I hadn't seen that in a little. No, Untouchables I watched recently because I did review it this year. But I watch all the James Bond movies. Hunt for Red October, I hadn't seen that in a while. The Rock I hadn't seen in a while, which we'll get to actually next. My bad. The Presidio, I hadn't watched that a little bit. Outland, Time Bandits. It was fun to go back and watch a bunch of Sean Connery movies because I miss Sean Connery. He was always one of my favorite actors, and I was very sad when he passed away. Highlander, I watched Highlander 1 and 2. I don't watch those enough, at least in my opinion. But yeah, man, I miss Sean Connery. And speaking of Sean Connery and James Bond, The Rock, and another film that I'm surprised that they've never done a super duper updated Blu-ray. I don't think this has a 4K. I could be wrong. But I'm surprised they've never done an updated special edition. Like Criterion back in the day did the DVD and the Laserdisc. I had the Criterion DVD, but all the features ended up on here. so I don't need that anymore. But I definitely want to get the Laserdisc because I don't have this on Laserdisc or VHS. I did have this on VHS many years ago, but then when I got the DVD, I got rid of it because at that time I was not collecting I was not collecting Laserdisc at the time. I was not collecting VHS like I am now. But I definitely need to get The Rock back on tape. But just an all-time classic. Again, I used to watch this movie all the time. I loved this movie. I saw this when it first came out on VHS back in the day, and I've loved it ever since. And yes, before it was cool, I was telling people that this was the last time that Sean Connery played James Bond. Now everybody says it. 20 years ago I was saying it. Nobody wanted to listen to me. So I was once again ahead of the curve. But I absolutely love this movie. One of my all-time favorite action movies, particularly from the 90s. I mean, you could say it's Die Hard. Kind of Die Hard on Alcatraz for the second half of the movie. But Sean Connery is what made this work. If it wasn't for Sean Connery, I don't think it would have worked as well as it did. So there you go. But classic. And then we have, same studio, same producer, same lead actor. Another film that I don't know why they've never done a special edition of this. Because this was a huge hit when it came out. Con Air. This was a huge hit when it came out. It's going on to become a cult classic. It's fucking Con Air. Come on. Again, another one of my all-time favorite 90s action movies, and I did watch this also. I did a double feature. I watched The Rock and Con Air, even though Sean Connery is not in Con Air. But can you imagine if he was, though? Imagine if Nicolas Cage was... Okay, here's a scenario for you. Imagine, at the end of The Rock, Sean Connery gets captured. Nicolas Cage lets him go. Sean Connery gets captured again by the FBI. They're going to transport him on a plane. Leads into Con Air. Now we're thinking. Anyway, but I love Con Air. I know John Cusack doesn't like it. John Cusack, great actor. He's a prick in real life. He always was. I was going to burp, but it went away. But he's wrong, because Con Air is fucking awesome. So there you go. I wish we had more movies like Con Air. So there's that. And I wish that this movie got a sequel, but that didn't happen. I'm part of the reason to blame for that because I didn't see it in the theater, but we have Dread, which I really like. And this was one of those movies where, because of people here on YouTube, because of Rambo Rap, because of Mike OCP, Aaron, the Reese 007, I hope you're well. When this movie came out, they saw it in the theater. They talked about it. I didn't see it in the theater at the time for whatever reason. But I think I downloaded it or whatever when it came on digital and loved it. And that's why I bought the Blu-ray. But I really like this film. It's a shame that we never got a sequel because it would have been cool. Honestly, I know people are going to get mad, but I kind of like the Stallone version more. We'll get to Stallone later on. But that's just me. But that's a good one too. I don't care. Now we have Can't Hardly Wait, which I got this out of the 750 Blu-ray bin at Walmart because the sticker's still on there. But this is the 20-year reunion edition, which this has all the extra features that was on the DVD. I don't think it has anything new, but this was one of the rarities when Mill Creek took over the Sony library that they actually transferred all the extras over from the DVD to their Blu-ray, so I can't complain about that. But I love this movie. I didn't grow up with this film, but I remember hearing, like when I was a kid, this was one that everybody would talk about, but I didn't see it till I think I was in my early 20s. I think I found the DVD at an FYE for like $5 or something. And by the way, I know that I did the rant video earlier today, but FYE is the next physical media company store that's going to go under because all the one closest to here shut down. I'm hearing through the grapevine that they're not going to last too much longer, which, I mean, I'm surprised they lasted this long, to be honest. That's a whole video in itself. But anyway, like I said, I picked it up there cheap and really liked it. And yeah, just a great 90s teen comedy when they made teen comedies, because they don't really make those anymore. But great cast in here. And yeah, it's nice that it has all the extra feet. It would be cool if they would do an updated version. That's just me, because I really like the film. I know a lot of other people really like the film. Maybe one day they will. I don't know. Maybe for the 30th anniversary, which would be 1998, so 2028. Maybe. We'll see. And maybe Jennifer Love Hewitt will take her shirt off. So there's that. Anyway. Remember a couple months ago when people complained when that shitty I Know What You Did Last Summer movie came out and people were saying she was fat and everything? I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? She's not fat. Okay, I mean, she put on a couple extra pounds from the 90s like you did, like everybody did, because in the 90s I weighed about, 100 pounds, 80 pounds, because I was a kid. Don't you better put some fucking respect on Jennifer Love Pfefferman's name, bitches, because Pfeffy has always been a snack. So there's that. You want all these Botox bitches and everything. She's all natural. Forget about it. Anyway, let's move on. We have Hell or High Water, which I actually really enjoyed this movie. This is from, Taylor Sheridan wrote the film, but I really like his work. I really enjoyed the first season of Tulsa King. I like some of the other stuff that he's done. Great cast. Jeff Bridges, always been a huge fan of his work. I just watched, speaking of Clint Eastwood, I watched Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, which also has Jeff Bridges. The Blu-ray just popped out of the thing there. Ben Foster, who I've always really liked as an actor. I know we're not supposed to like Ben Foster now, because apparently he did some stuff. I don't know what's true. I don't know what's not true. And Chris Pine is actually really good in this movie too. But this is a good crime. I wouldn't really call it a thriller. It's a crime movie. But I think this was a recommendation. I think when it came out, I heard people talking about it, and I just kind of picked it up as a blind buy. But a really solid movie. If you have not checked this out, there's a 4K. I don't think it has any new extras. I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me. But this was a pretty good movie if you have not checked it out. Like I said, I am a fan of Taylor Sheridan's work. So if his name is attached to it, a lot of times I will check it out. Because, like I said, I like that. I really enjoyed the first season of Tulsa King. I know season 3 just wrapped up. I got to catch up with that show. I got to catch up with Cobra Kai because I still haven't seen the last season of Cobra Kai. I know Taylor Sheridan has nothing to do with that, but oh well. Anyway, moving on, we have the Boondock Saints. This is the 10th anniversary Truth and Justice edition, which is funny because the guns on the cover are Sig Sauer. I think they're 228s. They don't use those guns in the movie. They probably should have did their homework. But I love this movie. This was a film that I think I reviewed well, in this fucking dojo, there's only one movie. But this was a movie that I remember when it came out because it was, it was so controversial because it was after Columbine and stuff. But I remember watching it on UPN back in the day. It was like the Saturday afternoon movie. And really enjoyed this movie. I try to watch this every St. Patrick's Day. And I didn't watch it this year. Actually, no. We did watch it for St. Patrick's Day because I asked my mom, I said, do you want to watch The Luck of the Irish or Boondock Saints? And she said Boondock Saints. I also try to watch it on November 1st because November 1st is All Saints Day. I know you non-religious people don't know that, but I didn't watch it this year. I just got busy. But I've always really liked this film. I need to get it on VHS. I had it on VHS for a while, and then I got rid of it because, again, at that time, I was not collecting VHS. I was buying VHS because the format was dead and you could get them for nothing, and that's where I fucked up because I should have invested more, but it's not that big of a deal. Most of the tapes that like the most wanted stuff, I have, so there you go. I'm just kind of filling gaps in, so to speak. But the behind the scenes of this movie and the sequel, to be honest, are very interesting. Troy Duffy is his own worst enemy. I think most people would tell you that. But very solid movie. Unfortunately, the sequel is fucking terrible. To be honest, I never cared for it. I never liked it. It was a very pale in comparison movie. I know they've been talking about for years about doing a third one. How about no? How about we don't? Well, it didn't need a sequel. It doesn't need a franchise. I will stick with the first one, and I know I probably went entirely too long on that movie, but oh well. You'll get over it. Anyway, we have Dude, Where's My Car, which celebrating its 25th anniversary. I think this came out in December, if I'm not mistaken, so I'll try to watch it this month. One of my favorite stoner comedies. I first saw this when it came out on VHS, and this movie was a big deal back in the day because American Pie had just come out the year before, so you had Sean William Scott, and he did, I think Road Trip was the same year. I don't remember anything about Road Trip except the scene where Tom Green is with those two chicks and they take their shirts off and he's like rubbing their nipples. That's the only thing I remember from that movie. Oh, and the line, was it, I can't remember if it was Road Trip or American Pie 2, where he said, I'll give you a spoon so you can eat my ass. It might be American Pie 2, but, so he was playing Stifler in every movie. Ashton Kutcher, which as an actor, I like him. As a person, not so much, because very questionable things with him and his wife. But, writing letters, supporting Danny Masterson when the guy is a rapist. There you go. But as an actor, I've always liked him. But this movie was a big deal. The sweet dude, sweet. That was a fucking thing for a couple of years. Some of you younger people don't know that, but that was a thing for years. And funny story about this movie. When this came out, they got the tattooed dude and sweet. When I would go stay with my grandparents in the summer, we would always go to this pool, this water park and pool. And one year there were 2 lifeguards that got those tattoos, and my grandfather thought that it was the funniest fucking thing ever. He could not stop talking about it. So there you go. I still have the DVD because the Blu-ray does not have any of the extra features. The DVD, I think, had a commentary and stuff. There's only a trailer on here, so we'll get to that later, but I do have the Blu-ray because I fucking love it. Again, it's one of my favorite stoner comedy movies, and I'm not even a fucking stoner. So there you go. Next up, Gangster Squad. I actually really like this movie. I think it's got a really good cast. You got Josh Brolin, Ryan Gosling, Emma Stone looking like a fucking snack. Sean Penn plays himself in the movie because he's a dick, so there's that. Nick Nolte's in it. I think Anthony Mackie, isn't he in this? Yes, Giovanni Ribisi, who I love. Robert Patrick is in it. So this, it's got a really good cast in here. The movie did nothing when it came out because that's when the Dark Knight shooting happened. So they kind of buried the movie because there was supposed to be a scene in the movie where the bad guys shoot up a movie theater, but they cut it out and they replaced it. That footage has never come out. I think you can find like behind the scenes stuff. So that's another example of lost media, but a pretty good movie. It's based on a true story. From what I understand, it's purely fiction. Like it's just kind of like name only type of stuff. So there you go with a lot, and that's how it is with a lot of these movies. But I actually quite enjoyed this film. I think it maybe down the road we'll get some more love. We'll see. Next up, we got some Olivier Gruner movies, which. Excuse me, these are the only 2 that I have on Blu-ray. I think these might be the only 2 that are on Blu-ray. Excuse me. I have some of his other movies on DVD. He was a guy that, they tried to make him like the next Van Damme because he's French and stuff. I like a bunch of his movies. I like these 2 movies. I like the Interceptor Force movies, which were for Sci-Fi Channel. TNT was okay. It wasn't the best. Automatic was really good, but that movie never got. I have it on VHS, but that movie never even got a DVD. Savat was okay. That one was all right. What was the other one I'm thinking of? I lost my damn train of thought. A Mercenary. Mercenary 2 I thought was alright. That I also have on VHS because that never came out on DVD either. Um, but, he also did this little movie called Sector 4. Maybe you guys have heard of it, but my friend wrote that movie, and he's told me a lot of not so nice details about Olivier Gruner. But, I think he became like a lot of these not just action guys, but he just got caught up in his own hype and, it became difficult, and that's why he kind of fell off the map like a lot of them do. So there you go. But anyway, he did make some good movies, so I can't complain. So we have Angel Town. I always kind of dug the theme song, but this was another MVD film, or release rather. But I like that they did like these VHS style slipcovers and stuff. And I know they're working on stuff now, but they're doing what everybody else is doing. They're just re-releasing movies that they already put out on 4K. Do I need Angel Town on 4K? No. Do I need Double Impact on 4K? No. If you want to do that, that's fine. But it doesn't have any new extra features. But I don't think he's on the extra features. I keep spitting, my bad. He's not. So I guess he said no or whatever. But this was, the old Western trope. Guy comes into town. The town's run by gangsters. He fights them, So I like this one. And I do like Nemesis, which is another MVD. The problem with this, though, is it doesn't have... Or maybe it does. Actually, no, it doesn't. It only has, I think, the director's cut, which they don't change the ending, but they added dialogue in the ending where they killed his character off, and I thought that was fucking stupid. And I don't think the theatrical cut has ever come out on... I think on DVD, but it's not on Blu-ray, because this has like a director's cut with it. And I'm like, that's cool, but what happened to the original version, the one that everybody likes? I hate when they do that. So there you go. But it's an Albert Pyun film, or Pion, however you say it. Again, I've heard it both ways. He does get interviewed on here. I was very sad when he passed away, because I actually like some of his movies. So there you go. But good movie, but I just don't like that they changed the fucking... They didn't change it, but you know what I mean. They tweaked it. I'll just say they tweaked the ending for no reason whatsoever. So there's that. Anyway, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I need to get the Criterion release because it's got new extra features. And also, I didn't know this until that came out, but apparently this is the edited version. Or no, they cut it to get the R rating, but that's the first time that it came out uncut because you see, what's his name? Robert Romanus. You see his little Robert Romanus. And I think you see... Jennifer Jason Leigh's hoo-ha, and not the ones up top. So I'm not complaining about that because Jennifer Jason Leigh was hot back in the day. I'll say that. But classic movie. Can't go wrong with Fast Times at Ridgemont. And once again, Sean Penn is playing himself. So there you go. If you haven't noticed, I don't like Sean Penn. I was never, to be honest, as an actor, other than this movie... State of Grace, I do think he did a good job with that. I was never big on him. I like his brother, Chris. Chris died. The wrong Penn died in my book. But I never really cared for him as an actor. As a human being, I think he's a dick. Allegedly, I always talked about, but allegedly he beat up Madonna when they were together. I believe it. But, him going on about fucking politics and... It's like, give it a rest, bud. Nobody gives a fuck about you. You're an asshole. But again, I was never big on him as an actor. He just never really did it for me. And as a human being, even less. I like movies like this where he just kind of plays himself. And it's like, oh, okay. So there you go. Anyway. And then, of course, we have Fight Club. This is the 10th anniversary Blu-ray, which does have some new extra features. There was, before... Fox got bought out, there was a 4K transfer that was finished and approved. It just never came out. Same with Die Hard 2. Same with a bunch of other movies. But because of the sale to Disney, they never came out physically. But I think all the versions on streaming and such are those transfers. But like I said, I know it's Disney, but they would make a killing if they put this out on 4K with all the bells and whistles and stuff, but it probably won't happen. So there's that. Then we have a nice little studio. Actually, I'm not too crazy about the artwork on here. They just happened to have only the Steelbook when I bought this. I think I might have got this when I was in the Army at the PX. But we have Scarface, classic movie. Need I say more? I am surprised also that this movie, because every time they re-release it, there's no new features. I'm surprised that they've never done a super duper brand new. I get it, it's Scarface. What more could you say about it? But it would be nice if maybe there was maybe like the TV version or something, because the TV version of this is funny. How'd you get that scar, tough guy? Eating pineapple, stuff like that. Because Arrow did Carlito's Way, which I need to get. I have that on Blu-ray elsewhere. I should put that with Scarface, because it's the same actor, same director, same studio. It's just kind of like the spiritual sequel. And I actually really like Carlito's Way. I like Scarface more, but Carlito's Way I think was a good movie too. Again, that's elsewhere. But I guess Universal wants too much money for Scarface, or they just don't want to give it up because it's Scarface. But Arrow, I think, would do a great job, and they would probably put the TV cut on there too. I don't know, like I love the old. I talked about this, like with Die Hard, a couple segments ago. I love those old TV cuts of movies because they're funny. Now they don't, either they show them uncut now, or they just mute all the stuff that they don't want. They don't dub in substitute words anymore because it costs money to do that, and they don't want to spend the money to do that. So there you go. Like Pulp Fiction, freeze, mother lovers. Like, yeah, that's funny, mother lover. Mr. Falcon. Come on. Or when you watch Casino, freak you, mother freaker. Like, yeah. The good shit. So there's that. Next up, Beetlejuice. Why they've never done a super duper deluxe Blu-ray of this or DVD. Like, this Beetlejuice never had any kind of special edition DVD or Blu-ray. The only features on here is 3 episodes of the cartoon, which I have on DVD. That's it. They have never done that. Why? I don't fucking... You would think that when they did that shitty sequel that came out... Does anybody remember that shitty Beetlejuice 2 that, people went and saw for no reason? I watched it for free because I wasn't paying money for it. Excuse me. But they've never done a special edition Blu-ray of all movies Beetlejuice. Why? I don't know. Doesn't make any sense. Next up, we have Brannigan with John Wayne. I don't have much John Wayne movies on Blu-ray or DVD. I think I only have The Searchers on Laserdisc, and then VHS they did a box set back in the 90s because my grandfather had that box set, so I have that one. I wish I had the one that he had, but when my dad's parents passed away, I didn't get nothing. I would at least like to have gotten his movies, his John Wayne and stuff like that, but I guess that was too much to ask for. Oh, wait, that's right. Nobody asked me. Anyway, sorry. But I don't have much in the way of John Wayne, sadly. I like John Wayne. This was one... I like this movie. This was him trying to do Dirty Harry because he turned down Dirty Harry and that pissed him off. So he did this and McHugh. I have McHugh on DVD. I like both. I like McHugh more, but I like this one. He goes to England. Richard Attenborough is the Scotland Yard detective that has to work with him. John Vernon is the bad guy. You can't go wrong with John Vernon as the villain. Another actor who I love. Miguel Ferrer is in it. No, my bad. Wrong person. Or no, is it? Yeah, Jose Ferrer's son. My bad. I think he's in this. Anyway. A bunch of people. But this is a good little film. Did I have... No. This is when Kino and Lorber used to do booklets. They don't do that anymore. But yeah, good movie. I like this one. So, But I definitely need to get more John Wayne because I like John Wayne. You know, I like El Dorado and a lot of those. You know, Rio Bravo and Sons of Katie Elder. I have True Grit. I got a couple of them. I got Green Berets. I got a couple of them on Blu-ray. I only have a couple on DVD. But yeah, I never really invested much time into getting the John Wayne stuff physically. That has to change. Anyway, then we have the 25th anniversary edition of Adventures in Babysitting with absolutely no extra features on it, not even a fucking trailer. But classic, all-time classic. This is a movie that, again, was... before... I'll come back to that in a second. This was a movie that was constantly on TV when I was a kid. I would watch it a lot. We would rent it from the video store a lot. I remember, I think my brother one time like really wanted to watch this, so we rented it. But I always love that poster. I want to get that poster, maybe signed by Elizabeth Shue and Keith Coogan. And fuck it, we'll get what's her name, Sarah Bruton, or I'm sorry, Sarah's the name of her character, Maya Bruton, and Anthony Rapp. Be great to get them to sign a poster. That'd be pretty cool. But I always love the poster. And again, I know it's Disney, but this was a big hit when it came out. It's a classic. I know they did that shitty remake with that little slut Sabrina Carpenter. I don't give a fuck. It's true. She's a slut. Don't be a slut, and I won't call you a slut. It's really quite simple. But I don't know why they've never done a proper special edition of this. Oh, and Penelope Ann Miller's in this, and she was hot. She's always had a big crush on her. George Newbern, Superman, is in it. Southside Johnny is in it. Albert Collins, great cast. John Chandler from Outlaw Josie Wales and Phantasm 3. He's the bad guy. But I love this movie. I just watched it not long ago. I watched it a couple months ago, and I had not seen it in forever. And I just forgot how funny it was. And speaking of TV, I actually watched the Joe Bob Briggs because they showed it on Monster Vision. Don't fool with the Lords of Hell. Don't fool with the babysitter. Like, come on, people. But I just one of my favorite 80s comedies as far as I'm concerned. And like I said, this was a movie that was just constantly on TV as a kid. I would always watch it. Any of the other ones in here? Untouchables, constantly on TV growing up. The Rock, constantly on TV growing up. Con Air, Big... Dude, Where's My Car? Scarface, Beetlejuice. So yeah, there's a couple other ones that I forgot to mention. But this one, fucking, I don't care, man. I love Adventures in Babysitting. Elizabeth Shue is still fucking beautiful. Same with Penelope Ann Miller. I don't care. I don't know what it is with these 80s babes. Still, you know, the ones that didn't get plastic surgery and stuff. Because some of them did, and I don't know why. Demi Moore, why? Demi Moore was fucking beautiful. I don't know why she got plastic surgery. But Elizabeth Shue is still fucking hot. I don't care. I will die on that hill that she has always been gorgeous. And she didn't get plastic surgery, and as far as what I can tell, she's fucking normal. She's not fucking me, unfortunately, but, you know, she's a babe. So there you go. Next up, we have some Sho Kosugi, the real ninja master. So first up, we have the Ninja Trilogy. And I know Kino just put these out on 4K. No new extra features, so there's that. So we have Enter the Ninja, which I remember watching this as a kid. It was on UPN. And the opening, when they're doing the demonstration, I was like, this is so cool. Like, watching the movie and stuff. But and then, yeah, this is another one I remember. Like, HBO used to run this a lot back in the day. And I would watch it. I think I actually taped it off of HBO. But they never ran this one as much. But we'll get to that. But love Enter the Ninja. Not my favorite of the trilogy, but I quite like it. And yes, Franco Nero, the Italian Texan ninja, because he, on the Electric Boogaloo documentary, he said, you know, they wanted me to be like the all-American guy, and I was going to be from Texas, and I was a ninja. It doesn't make any sense. And then they dubbed my voice So there's that. But there you go. And then we have Revenge of the Ninja, which is my favorite. And like I said, I remember this one being on TV a couple times, but not as much as the first one or the third one. But this one was my favorite because they realized, after Enter the Ninja, they realized, why don't we just hire Sho Kosugi to be the hero, because he can do the martial arts, he can act. You know, it would just be better to do that, which was the right move, to be honest. So there you go. But this one is classic. I would put this up there with the first two American Ninjas as far as I'm concerned. And I don't know why there is no extra features with Sho Kosugi on these, because he did do extra features for some of these other ones, and then he did for like we'll get to Black Eagle because I put it with the Van Damme movies. He did for Black Eagle. I don't know. I guess they just didn't ask him. But yeah, I love Revenge of the Ninja. Only a ninja can stop a ninja. And then we have Ninja 3, The Domination, which is the batshit insane movie in the trilogy, but that's why I like it. And I remember this one being on TV a lot when I was a kid, and I'm like, well, Lucinda Dickey is hot, and she's a ninja, and it's like The Exorcist, even though I don't like The Exorcist. I've never seen The Exorcist, but you know, they went for a bunch of different things here, but pretty fun movie. And this is the re-release from Shout Factory because it had new extra features, and then it had all the old extra features and a new transfer. And then I really like the artwork on that too. And then I think it has, yeah, the original poster is the reversible. And also, this is the only one that I have on VHS. I don't have, we'll get to the VHS when we get to that, but I don't have the first two. So there you go. And then we have the German release, because it only came out in Germany, of 9 Deaths of the Ninja, which was Sho Kosugi. It's weird because he's not like, he's the star, but he's not really the star. You know what I mean? And it's more like a James Bond movie. You know, he's not really a ninja, but he is. You know what I mean? I don't think there's any extra features on here. But this one's okay. This is probably my least favorite movie that he did. But that poster is really cool, so there you go. But yeah, Sho Kosugi, Der Ninja Meister. So there you go. Look at me now. Look at me now. And then we have, which one came first? The chicken or the egg? This one did. Then we have Pray for Death, which I do quite like this one. Outside of the Ninja trilogy, I would say this is the best movie that he did. And he's actually on the extra features because this is Arrow. Excuse me, sorry. Frog in my throat. But yeah, there is interviews with Sho Kosugi. And there's a couple of things from back in the day, which is pretty cool. But yeah, this one's pretty fun. It's pretty violent too, which is cool. But yeah, he is a ninja in this one. And then he's not a ninja in this one. But this is Rage of Honor, which is alright. And it's funny because when MGM put this out on DVD, they used, I think it was from it might have been from Revenge of the Ninja. They used a picture of Revenge of the Ninja of Sho Kosugi on the cover, but he's not a ninja in this movie. Because I remember as a kid seeing that cover, I was like, oh, cool, another ninja movie with Sho Kosugi. It's not a ninja movie because he only did Pray for Death and then the trilogy and then kind of 9 Deaths of the Ninja. So there you go. But it was the 80s, baby. It was all about the ninjas. So there you go. And then we have 21 Jump Street. I love this. This is probably my favorite comedy of the 2010s, to be honest. But I love what they did with this. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. They tried to do it with Chips and Baywatch, and it didn't fucking work. But it worked here. So there's that. And then we have the Steelbook of the second movie, because I think, again, I might have got this when I was in the Army and they only had the Steelbook. But this is a good sequel. I'm kind of glad that they didn't do any more. Sometimes it's like, it would have been cool if they would have did a third. But, you know, sometimes 2 is enough. But I actually, the first one I absolutely love. The second one's a good sequel. But I like both of these movies. I can't. I'm not flipping you guys off. Sorry. Well, there we go. It looked like my bad. I'm not flipping you off. But I actually quite like both of these movies. So there you go. And then we have Horrible Bosses, which I really like this one too. I think this is pretty funny. It's a shame because Kevin Spacey's in the movie. Again, Kevin Spacey, he is a great actor. I don't think anybody would disagree. As a human being, he is a fucking scumbag. He is a fucking piece of shit. I do not feel bad for him. I know he did all these interviews. I'm homeless. I don't give a fuck, Kevin Spacey. Don't grab dudes' dicks, you fucking you-know-what. Cocksucker. So there's that, But I really like this one. The sequel, I don't think it's as good as the first, but I do like it. I think it's got some good moments in there. Like when Charlie Day, and I love Charlie Day because I love It's Always Sunny, but when Charlie Day's like, yeah, my wife will divorce me and take my kids and I'm only going to get visitation rights at fucking McDonald's. And then I think it's Jason Sudeikis who... I was never really big on him. Yeah, fucking McDonald's. Jason Bateman I like, but he's a fucking goof in real life. But Jason Sudeikis is also a fucking goof, but I never really cared for him. I never saw Ted Lasso. I don't care. So there you go. Next up, Backdraft. Another film, I guess Universal wants too much money for, but why this movie never got a super duper deluxe special Blu-ray is beyond me. But if you are not crying at the end of this film, you are not a human being. So there you go. But I absolutely love Backdraft. Probably my favorite. I would say it's the best movie about firefighting, and it's my favorite. Ladder 49 is good. I have that on Blu-ray. I just haven't watched it yet. And that was actually shot in Baltimore. So there you go. But love Backdraft. Amazing cast in here. Jennifer Jason Leigh, once again, who is hot. I don't care. She was smoking hot back in the day. Easy Money, and I think she's more attractive as a brunette. Because Easy Money with Dangerfield, she dyed her hair. And she was way more attractive than she was as a blonde. I don't know what she looks like now. But back in the 80s and the 90s, she was a fucking smoke show. And good actress. I always liked her work. I always felt terrible because her dad was Vic Morrow, who got killed in the Twilight Zone helicopter crash. But I always felt terrible for her. But great actress. And back in the day, she was hot. So there you go. Pun intended. There you go. She's hot. Fire. Backdraft. Hell yeah. And the also very sexual, very hot Rebecca De Mornay is in that. I like me some Rebecca De Mornay. Her hand can rock my cradle any day of the week, bitches. Fuck yes. I remember when women just were naturally beautiful. Like Rebecca De Mornay and Jennifer Jason Leigh. Now Botox. I don't want Botox. I want all natural. All natural, baby! I apologize for my behavior. It is 9 o'clock in the morning, and I have not had any caffeine yet. So there you go. Anyway. Well, I would say I would put this with the other movie, with the movies, but I only have the box set. But we have Crystal Lake Memories, one of my all-time favorite documentaries, and this is the, I think you can only get it on the website, which had the bonus disc. The shitty thing is the bonus disc is only on a DVD. But you get the, it's a combo packs. You get Blu-ray and DVD, but like I said, the shitty thing, the bonus disc is a DVD. I actually got this at Entertainment when I was in the Army in Colorado. I was looking through the horror movies, and they had this, but it was in the box, the lock box. And I took it up to the register and said, "Hey, is it okay if, we can look at this and I make sure the bonus disc is in there?" They're like, "Yeah, sure." And it was, and I'm like, "Well, I'll buy it." So I was like, "Cool." I found it in the wild. With the bonus disc. That never really happens, but absolutely love this documentary. One of my favorites. And like I said, I would put it with the movies, but I only have the Shout Factory box set, so it kind of defeats the purpose. Next up, welcome to Fright Night. For real. My all-time favorite vampire movie ever since I first saw it as a kid. This is the Twilight Time. This sold out in like 10 minutes. Because it was like, I think it was when did this come out? 2015. So I think it was New Year's Eve. They put the pre-order up and it sold out in 10 minutes. But I managed to get it. If you get the I do want to get the 4K because the 4K has all the extra features from this and more. So, and it is my favorite vampire film. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, actually, we're going to get to that next year. My bad. Never mind. But yeah, that has all the extras from this and that. But yeah, this sold out immediately. So I jumped on it as soon as I could. But I had to. So I can't complain. And hopefully in 2026... we'll get Fright Night 2 on Blu-ray. I'm very, very excited about that. So there we go. And then, I actually did the pre-order on this one, but we have the You're So Cool Brewster documentary. Now the 4K, the 4K for Fright Night has this documentary, but I think it's edited. So if you can still find this is the full, because I think it's only about the first movie. It doesn't have anything about the sequel or the comic books and stuff like that on. I love the Fright Night comics from now, but really good documentary. This was the people, I think they did the Hellraiser documentary, which is on the Arrow set, so I don't need to get that. And they did the Return of the Living Dead documentary, and I have the book because they did the documentary and the book. I didn't pre-order the book. I only pre-ordered the Blu-ray, but I got the book later on, so I have that in the other room. And then they did, I think, a Return of the Living Dead book. They did a Lost Boys. They didn't do a documentary about Lost Boys. Sorry. They did not do a documentary about Lost Boys. They did do a book about Lost Boys. I have that in there. But if you can, like I said, if you can get this, I think Vinegar Syndrome re-released it. That might be the better option, honestly, because it'd be cheaper. But really like this, really good stuff. And they got, I mean, everybody at the time that was alive, they got, so can't complain. And yeah, the bonus fee, I think it's a combo. Okay, it's not. Okay, so you get the documentary on Blu-ray and DVD, and again, the bonus disc is on the DVD. I hate when they do that. Like they did with I have it up there, you'll see it later. But the Blade Runner briefcase set, the bonus the bonus features is on a fucking DVD. So why? So there you go. Next up, couple Steve McQueen movies. The Getaway I put with Sam Peckinpah. I got more Steve McQueen. I just, they're all over the place. But first up, we have The Great Escape, which I need to get this has all the features from the DVD, but I need to get the Criterion and Arrow releases because they have different extras. They have all the ones from the old DVD that I used to have, but they don't have, a lot of them don't carry over. Excuse me, so I'll get that at some point. But this is the old Blu-ray, but absolutely love this film. Still one of my all-time favorites. My brother, it's funny because for his birthday this year, we went out, we actually went down to Baltimore City to one of our favorite Italian places. Had a nice dinner, came home, and he's like, I want to watch The Great Escape. I'm like, well, it's your birthday, so. And I hadn't watched it in forever, but love The Great Escape. And then we have Bullet, which I love. Man, I don't know. I go back and forth with Steve McQueen, with this and The Getaway as my favorites. And once more, why they've never done a super duper deluxe Blu-ray of this is beyond me. I don't know why. It's got some feature, there's a really good documentary on here called The Essence of Cool, which is about Steve McQueen. And then also there's a documentary about editing, movie editing. That's really, because they talk about the car chase and stuff, but that's really good as well. But why they've never done an update, again, I guess Arrow wants too much money or what have you. Not Arrow, Warner Brothers. But we'll see, because it's the end of the world. There's no more physical media apparently, because one studio is getting bought by Netflix. So I guess Disney doesn't count. I guess Universal doesn't count. I guess the indie labels don't count. This is how these people think. So there you go. Anyway, we have Raven with Burt Reynolds. This is when Burt Reynolds in the 90s was trying to kind of reinvent himself as an action star a little. Not that he wasn't, but in the 80s he did movies like Sharky's Machine, and which I do like. I need to get that on Blu-ray. I do quite like Sharky's Machine. But in the 90s, again, he tried to reinvent himself as kind of an action hero, because he did movies like this. He did the Hard Times trilogy, which I have on DVD. Some are good, some are not so good. This one's okay. I don't mind this one. But it's weird because he's kind of like a bad guy, but he's not really a bad guy, that kind of thing. But this is okay. It's not too bad. I have to give it another look at some point. Then we have Hardcore Henry, which I really like this, but it flopped at the box office. It didn't make any money. But I love the concept that they tried to do a movie, like an entire first-person shooter action movie with GoPros and stuff. Like, I thought that was really cool, but unfortunately, I don't know if it was the marketing or bad timing or what have you, but I quite like this film, actually, and it would have been nice if we would have got some sequels and stuff, but good stuff. I can't complain. Pretty fun movie. Haven't watched that in quite a while. So there's so many movies I want to go back and watch, but there's also so many that I have over there and behind the camera with the laser discs, and then I have an entire room full of VHS that I haven't watched yet. So I got to get caught up on a lot of that stuff. But here I am going through Clint Eastwood's filmography and stuff. So there you go. So what we'll finish this up, and then I might do the Van Damme stuff, and then we'll save this for the next part. So we'll do that. All right, yeah, because it'll be fine. So we got some Chow Yun Fat here. So first up, we have The Killer. So this is the old shitty Dragon Dynasty release, and the reason why I say shitty is because the transfer on this Blu-ray is fucking terrible. The transfer on... I had the DVD first, because that was before I got heavy into Blu-ray, but the transfer on that DVD was fucking terrible. There was compression artifacting, the color timing was fucked up. When Arrow does their version, it'll look great, but I'll get into the reason why I kept this one in a minute here. But classic movie. It just, Dragon Dynasty did not give a shit about the quality of how their movies looked, and that's why a lot of them came out with shitty transfers, this one included. And then I have the Hong Kong Rescue Edition, but the reason why I kept this is because Jacob the Liar didn't put the extra features from this release on there, even though he claimed, like so many other things, that this was the definitive release of The Killer and everything like that. So that's why I have both of them, because this one has an interview and a Q&A with John Woo, and they're not that's all, folks. They are not on this version. So how can it be the definitive version when you didn't get the extra features from this release onto this release? And then you stole people's money and you lied and you deceived them, and that's why nobody likes you. You fucking punk bitch. So there's that. Chris Tucker ain't no punk bitch, but you certainly are, so there's that. So there you go. And then I have the Hong Kong Rescue release of Hard Boiled, because his dumbass actually put the shit from the Dragon Dynasty release onto here. So there you go. And then when Arrow puts this out, I'll probably still keep this. Number one, it's a bootleg. And number two, the Bay Logan commentary is not... I know we're not allowed to talk about Bay Logan because he may or may not have done things. We don't know. Can't believe women, people. So there's that. Because women lie about everything. Rule number one. There you go. Anyway. And then we have official releases here. We have the extended cut of The Replacement Killers. I still have this on DVD because this was... this was one of the rare times that Sony actually put the extended cut on Blu-ray, because they were doing that for a while. They were putting out extended cuts of movies, but only on DVD. This is one of the few that actually got a Blu-ray, and it does have the extra features from the DVD, but it doesn't have the theatrical cuts. That's why I have the theatrical cut still on DVD. But for whatever reason, I guess they just didn't give a shit, or they fucked up and they didn't realize it. But they did put the quote-unquote extended cut on Blu-ray. It's fluff. I actually prefer the theatrical version. But I love The Replacement Killers. Unfortunately, it came out right after Titanic, and it didn't do anything, and it kind of killed Chow Yun-Fat's career in America. But I absolutely love this film. Ever since I first time I saw this was, I remember when it came out, because the poster of him with the sunglasses and the gun I always thought was cool. But my brother got me the DVD, like the old DVD, the flipper disc, for Easter one year, and I remember watching it because I think I had already seen Hard Boiled and The Killer, and I hadn't seen that yet. So there you go. But yeah, I don't know why this was one of the exceptions. I think Spider-Man, the director's cut of Spider-Man 2, that was one of the exceptions as well, that they actually put the alternate version on Blu-ray, because I have Tears of the Sun with Bruce Willis. I still have that on DVD because they never put that cut out on Blu-ray. I have Black Hawk Down, which that's on the 4K, but I don't have the 4K yet. I only have the DVD still. So there you go. And then we have The Corruptor, which honestly, it's more of a Mark Wahlberg movie than it is of Chow Yun-Fat, but you know, I like it. And also, Byron Mann's in here, Rick Young is in here, Benny Chan is in here. So there's a bunch of good actors. Brian Cox, who I like. There's a bunch of good actors. Not a bad movie, but I wish it was more of a Chow Yun-Fat film. And see, that's the other thing they did with Chow Yun-Fat, like they did with Jackie Chan. When he came here, it was always him with someone else. It was always him with someone else. Anna and the King, you know, or it was an ensemble piece like Pirates of the Caribbean. They didn't let Chow Yun-Fat just star in his own movie like he did in Hong Kong, and those movies made money and they're classics. Not that I don't feel that way about Replacement Killers, because as far as I'm concerned, Replacement Killers is a classic. I love that movie. But they didn't let him be him, you know, and same with Jet Li. It was always Jet Li with other people. Why? Like, why did they feel, you know, these guys made all these movies in Hong Kong, huge throughout the rest of the world too, not just there. But then when they came here to the States, nope, it's got to be a buddy picture. It's got to be this. It's got to be a fuck off. So there you go. And then we got Go Power Rangers! Sorry, I had to. You just have to deal with it. So we have the Mighty Morphin movie, which is from Shop Factory, which these are out of print now. Again, typically, when I buy a movie, and it goes out of print, I don't look at the prices because I'm not going to sell it. I don't care. I like the movies. But apparently, these are pretty expensive now. But they did do a pretty good job. It has the featurette from back in the day, but not the one. Okay, so hold on. And then there's a new documentary on here, but it doesn't have any of the deleted scenes or stuff. I guess they couldn't find them. But these movies are not getting re-released on 4K or what have you because it's Disney. But love the Mighty Morphin movie. I actually did not see either of these. Being a big as a Power Rangers fan as I am, I don't think I saw these in the theaters back in the day. Turbo didn't really get much of a release for some reason. I remember when this came out in the theater and on VHS, it was such a huge deal. But I don't think I saw this in the theater. Because like I said before in other videos, when I was a kid, we really didn't go to the movie theater that much for whatever reason. You know, not complaining, but the featurette that's on here from back in the day is the one that was on the DVD. Now, there's two different ones. There was another one that was on the Pagemaster VHS, which that one was really cool because that had the music from Predator in it. But that has only ever come out, I think you can find it here on YouTube, but that was only ever on the Pagemaster VHS. They didn't put it on the DVD, they didn't put it on this Blu-ray. Still my favorite Power Ranger movie, to be honest. And then we have the Turbo movie, which same thing, that has the featurette from back in the day, and then it has a new documentary on here, but none of the deleted scenes and such. So there you go. And then we have, I want to say this is Target. I could be wrong. This is the Target exclusive steelbook of the 2017 movie, which I did not get to see this in the theater because I was in the army and I was overseas in Europe. And actually, I was in Latvia. Because on the weekends and stuff, a lot of times we would go to the movie theater. I saw, for whatever reason, my platoon went out to go see John Wick 2, but I, for whatever reason, didn't go with them. But I went out when they saw Fast and the Furious 8. Honestly, in retrospect, I would have flipped it. And then I saw Kong Skull Island when I was there. But the theaters in Latvia actually did not have this movie, so I didn't get to see it. I saw it as a boot. I was able to find a bootleg of it online and watch it. But I actually really like this. I thought this was very well done. It did not do well because it came out when they did that Beauty and the Beast remake. And the marketing may have had something to do with it. I don't think so, but maybe other people would say otherwise. But I really liked it, and it's a shame that we didn't get at least one sequel to this. So, but it's in this nice steelbook. It's busted, which is why it doesn't close. It did, actually, no, I fixed it. It did come with the comic book. I have the comic book elsewhere. And then I have the German release, because the German release actually took all the extra features from the exclusive versions here in America and put them on a Blu-ray, because I think the Walmart exclusive only had the extra features on a DVD. That's all on a Blu-ray, but that's over there on the other shelf. So I am actually, you know what, here's what I'll do. I'll end it here because I am a little bit over an hour, and we will start with Van Damme. That'll be a good place to start. We'll start with Van Damme in part 6. So we'll do that next time. But anyway, I apologize about not getting anything up last week with this, because I know you guys like this stuff. Again, I do miss doing this, but YouTube has severely changed. The world keeps changing. You know, there's a lot of fucked up things going on here on YouTube and other stuff. I'm not going to sit on my soapbox about it. That was what the other video was for. But I do like doing this kind of stuff. You guys know that. If I didn't, I wouldn't be here. But we'll end it for here, and then we'll come back in part 6. We'll knock out some Van Damme, Bruce Lee, Arnold, Godzilla, some other stuff. We'll wrap up this shelf in part 6, and then we'll hop over to the other shelf and get that started next time. See ya!